All right, welcome back to our tribe calls. We're doing Zoom again because we just like to see each other's faces. And obviously we know we won't have any technical difficulties with this point. So as always, thank you all for getting on. I know it's summer and there's so much to do and it's Thursday night and it's late, but seeing all of your faces mean you're showing up, and showing up is really the best way to grow your business and to just work on yourself. So let's get going. As always, I love to start with recognition, and we're going to do something new, especially because I can see all your faces now. So let's first of all start with this last week. Who had the top volume in this last week? Everyone over 500 is going to get recognition today. So at 3,800 was Garrett Spencer. My ex-husband likes to lead the pack. Sarah Boldman has 2,500. Aaron Cermak had 2,444. My second CBC had 1,839. Becca Wasso at 1,340. Sarah Bry 704. Tamsin West 662. Rachel Baldwin 662. Monica McCrossin 595. And that is it for our team. So again, this is week leg volume. If I can't talk enough about week leg volume, that is where you build your income, your recurring income. So that's what we need to be focusing on, okay? Next up is who has done some pretty major recruiting this month. We already have, where are we here? So Allison Laufenberger's already recruited 3 people. Diana Cabezas, Amanda Burrow, says McFadden, Keisha, oh, sorry, my gosh, I'm reading the wrong people. Chelsea Huffnagel has 3. Allison Hellinger, Becca Wasso, Gina Murdoch, Katie Glasser, Kelly Webster, Kim Gillinoff, Sarah Brya, myself, and Shannon Dave have all recruited 2 people to our tribe already this month, and it's only halfway through. So way to go, you guys. Now, Success Club points. Chelsea Huffnagel's leading the pack, along with Sarah Bryant, Amy Rule, Kim Gillinoff, Shannon Babe, and myself with 6 SC points. And then Sarah Fullerton, Patrice Hole have 5. Way to hit Success Club already, you guys. And then Gina Murdoch, Becca Wasso, Jen Pierce, Hannah Robertson, Katie Glasser, Kelly Webster at 4. Michelle Carter, Kelly Holminski, Angela Bennett at 3. Melissa Newhouse, Kara Worth, Carolyn Hollern, Carrie Rugg, Emma Zielinski, Melissa Wardy, Taylor Logan, Joy Bowling, Kathy Benson, Jody Karmer, Kristen Idzikowski, Kristen Pine, Liz Bazin, Jody Bulis, Shannon Winiger, Karen Kovacs, Jill Barnum, Tamsin West, Brian Bowling, Vince Rogers, Sonia Mata, Maisie Manolato, Caitlin Elor, Britton Lisk, all have 2. So way to go, you guys. Now the fun thing I saw another team do, and I'd like to do with all of you on the call. If your video is live, hold up on your hands how many successful points you're planning on getting this month. Okay, I see lots of fingers. Okay, so look around and recognize that this is us all together, right? Like, we all have these goals. We're all pushing together. And, you know, if you see all these fingers, it means all the people that we're going to help this month. All right, so get excited about that. All right, thank you for your show of fingers. Now, because you guys know how much I love to talk about vision and things of that nature, I think we should really start with the leadership and the color coding style. I'm not sure if all of you, when you started, we did this a lot when I was a new coach, just to see someone's color code meant ways that you knew that you could help them. And it meant ways that you knew on ways that you could help inspire them, and also kind of see maybe some of the things that would potentially hang them up and you could work around it. So looking on here, have all of you done the color code test? Have you, yes or no? You know what color you are? No, no one does. My goodness. Okay, well, it's part of my new coach email if you guys want to look at my Google Drive. And after this, I definitely would recommend that you do it, because it will give you some tips about your personality style, your leadership style. And then also when you get someone new on your team and you think you kind of am like, oh, okay, I get to know them. And then they come back that they're a yellow and you thought that they were a red, it will totally change how you approach them. So we're going to go through that really quickly just so that you guys can, see so that you can see really like how to help your team the most, and then how also just to figure yourself out a little bit more. So let me screen share this and we'll move into that first. All right, can everyone see what this is right here? Can everyone see that? Awesome. So while you do what you do, again, take the color code test. If you look in my Google Drive, I will post it underneath when I post the replay of this call so that you guys can take the test if you haven't yet. But here's some information about it. Take some notes, and then when you take it, I would also encourage all of you to send it to your downline so that you guys can kind of talk about how to move forward. Okay, so the color code difference between most other personality tests, they kind of just look at behaviors and, you know, see if you see along this scale where most other personality tests look into it. The color code gets to the initial core motive of then what drives the rest of it. So if you can know the core motive of what drives someone, then the other things you can help fall into place also. So the initial 4 colors that we like to talk about the most are red, blue, white, and yellow. I am mostly red, and for any of you that know me, you'll kind of see this as we move along. I have a little bit of blue, but not much white or yellow. And as you get to know the other leaders on your team, or even just the other new coaches on your team, like I said, this will help you kind of figure some things out. So in biggest terms, the red's core motives are power. The blues like to be nice and huggy, intimacy. They want everyone to kind of feel like we're all on the same team and we're all in this together. Whites like to hear a lot of information. They want everything to kind of be peaceful going in. And the yellows, it has to be fun. Like if you give them, you know, trainings and right away, like they have to jump into doing, I don't know, tracking, they're like, nope, I'm out, not my thing for me. So if you look at the typical natural talents of a red are leadership and vision. Blue really focuses on customer service and quality. The whites have a lot of clarity. Like I said, they want to know all of the information before they do anything. And they also have a lot of tolerance for a lot of things that might happen. Yellows bring the fun. They bring the optimism and the enthusiasm. Okay, so we'll start with red. So power sometimes seems like a negative word. It doesn't necessarily mean negative in the sense, but power when it comes to a red means they're always kind of moving forward in that direction. Obviously, you know, like even the tattoo I got this year reminds me that I am a pretty solid red. So they're always moving from A to B. They focus a lot on the results and the productivity and how to help their team get there. The vision is clear. Again, we're talking about vision. It kind of makes me laugh that it's showing that my red personality also moves into what our main topic of our team call is tonight. Leadership, they're responsible, they're decisive, they don't waver in that, you know, green area, they don't waffle very much, very proactive with their decisions and their actions, and assertive. Like, you know, you just kind of put it out there and you go for it. Limitations of red, they tend to be selfish, insensitive, argumentative, so that's a typo, sorry about that, impatient, and always right. And obviously being able to talk about my weaknesses myself, yes, these are all things that I am constantly working on, both in my personal life and in my business. So there you go. How to motivate a red. So if you have a red on your team, it's really important to give them systems, to give them the next training to do, to talk about that next goal that you want them to hit. But reds want to do it their own way. So they want to be in the driver's seat and are more than happy to step up to a leadership role. They value what gets them ahead, whether it's their career, school, or personal life. What they value, they get done. They can be workaholics, but this also can apply in all of those areas of their life. But if it's something doesn't interest them, the chance of getting them to do it is very small. So offer leadership responsibility, give them facts and figures to hit, and also to help, you know, look through their business, support the decisions they made that were positive, be direct, be brief, be specific, also help them be the driver of their own bus, okay? So let's move on to blues. Blues, for example, our upline, Sarah Lenore, is a very solid blue. So if you, like I said, I don't want you just to think of one person while you're thinking through this, but if you think of a blue, Sarah is one of those people. So Sarah, I mean, not Sarah, but in general, blues like to kind of that intimate feeling. So they're givers. They really focus on the relationship. What is the bigger purpose to what we do? Is there a quality in service to how you provide for your coaches, for your team, for your customers? They're loyal, they're very sincere, and they're thoughtful. The limitations of blues, they can be self-righteous, overly sensitive. They do have to deal with the perfectionism. They do worry also, and then sometimes set unrealistic expectations for themselves. So how to motivate a blue? They need to feel like they're understood and appreciated. Everything they do is very quality-based, which then again ties into that perfectionism that you have to work through. Loyal friends, employees, employers, whatever they commit to is their soul focus. They love to serve and give of themselves freely. So make sure you show them appreciation. Coaches that are blues do want to get things in the mail and those call outs on social media. Remember to do those things for everyone, but blues especially will appreciate it. Make sure they feel secure and loved, promote their creative efforts and ambitions, and always, especially as a red, I have to remember this, just kind of take that step back and approach them in a more sensitive way. So the white coaches, they like to look at it. If you think of white in general, you mean peace. So I have a new coach that's the color white, and I don't attract very many coaches that are, the color white to my team, and I'm not sure why, but when I do have, someone who's the color code white, I'm always like, oh, this is so nice. It's like that breath of fresh air. So in general, coaches who are white on the color code like a lot of clarity. They have tolerance for the things you do. They're very kind and adaptable. They're also patient with their business. They like to approach things from a diplomatic point of view. And then they can kind of just be that even-tempered one in the group, so they can keep everyone on track without, the extremes of the reds and the yellows. The limitations of the color white are they're indecisive, they're silently stubborn. So if they're struggling, they might not tell you. They avoid conflict at all costs. So this is something that you have to really work with them with their messaging and things like that, because they never want to feel like they're bothering someone, okay? They're unexpressive and detached. In general, I don't see as much of that, because in our business, people who do choose to make the decision to move forward, they really are working on those bottom two, really the bottom three. But, there are some coaches that are the color white that are really successful in this business. So how to motivate a white? They seek independence and require kindness. They do not want confrontation. So making sure they feel good and they're quiet by nature is, just really important to make sure that you respect that, their bubble. Of all the colors, they're the best listeners. This is why they get really, really loyal customers and coaches. They also respect people who are direct, but are not all about any of the drama or verbal battle. So practice patience. Don't rush them. If you do have any, whites that are looking to join your team or are on your team, you have to really set those goals with them on their terms and then set a timeline that they're comfortable with them. Make sure to listen, because they're such good listeners. They want someone to listen to them also. Look for nonverbal cues about their feelings. Make sure just to talk to them about that. If you see they're kind of pulling back, but they're not saying anything, it's okay to ask them what's going on. Share ideas about what you're thinking, because in general, because they are such, people that don't want to rock the boat, they'll help you approach certain new ideas that you want to bring to your team in a way that might be a better way to not scare some of your coaches that aren't on the same path as you. Yellows are fun. They like to make it fun every day. So live in the moment. A good friend of mine, Michelle Pauser, she's another coach in Body Burn. She is like your solid yellow. So she's enthusiastic. She's always happy. She's someone that you love to be around. She makes everyone kind of feel just good when they're with them. She always just brings the light, brings the sunshine. Limitations of a yellow. Sometimes they can be uncommitted or disorganized, afraid to really face the reality of what they need to do, unfocused or impulsive. So how to motivate a yellow. Yellows are inviting and embrace life as though that it's a party. So that when it comes to this Beachbody business, they want to make it fun. And so like I said, you cannot give them a bunch of like, do this list, do this training. They will check out on you. So you have to make it fun. And so like, for example, in our Good Vibes tribe, whenever I'm doing something, because I can be such a red, like not fun sometimes, I check in with some of my yellows like, hey, how can I do this so that you want to do it? How can I make this better so that it's just not just this kind of like boring that needs to be done, how can we make it something great that everyone wants to participate in? They need to be adored and praised. They love to be carefree and are highly responsive to someone else trying to control them. So give them the things like if you're going to have team events or swag, or, you know, if you have a new training, make sure to bring them in because they'll bring the creative and the fun. Make sure you praise them a lot. Tell them how appreciative you are. Be positive and upbeat. And remember, they're much more sensitive than they appear. They appear like they're the life of the party and fun, but then they underneath are wanting, you know, that just to let them know that they're loved and they're appreciated. Okay, so if I were you, I would screenshot this. I'm not going through all of this, but these are for the best relationships with these colors. Don't do these things, all right? So look at these. I would screenshot it, and then as you go through your team, kind of go back and forth to see, you know, what you need. So the people in general, like I said, complement and opposites. Like I said, I don't attract very many color whites to my team. The ones that I do have, I love, and I make sure, you know, I have to be really responsive to that. In general, I do have mostly blues and a couple of yellows on my team. I do seem to see mostly reds and blues. So I'd be interested if when you do this with your team, maybe check in or comment below with what you found most of your team is. Are you complementary? Are you opposite? It's kind of interesting to see how your team kind of adds up based on the social media posts you do and things like that. Okay, so make sure to do this test for yourself. Like I said, it is in my Good Vibes Tribe new coach email. I want everyone to tell me what color they are. So go back to your personal team page. Like I said, I'll post this in our big team page, but then go back to your smaller team page and, you know, put what color you are. Talk about, you know, put the link to the test in there. And then just get to talking and see if people feel like their color is, you know, a good representation of them. Again, I do have it as part of my onboarding. I would highly recommend you add it to yours. And then if you are going to go into like some one-on-one, which I am starting those in the next week with some of my coaches, look at yourself, you know, and the color that the coaches that you're going to be working with, and make sure that this is how you're approaching the call, how you're approaching their goals is what's best based on their color. Alrighty, so that, I'm going to stop the share of that. How did everyone feel about that? I mean, do you feel like this could be something that you use for your team? I personally have loved it. I feel like it's worked really well. So again, like I said, I'll post the link in there, but if you're not using it, just maybe start it. And like I said, post it, even if you have only one coach, get to know what color he or she is and then kind of move forward with that. All right, so now this is the part where we're going to get interactive. I posted about this last week, but vision and consistency. And you know, I almost have to take a deep breath when I talk about this stuff because I feel like this is the one, well, having a vision for your business is the one thing that will constantly keep you moving even when life trips you up, even when you have, you know, failures or fallbacks in your business. And if we can talk about this and get really clear personally, and then make sure we share that, you know, with our team and with, you know, we share our vision with our team, and then we can also help pull this out of our new coaches, this is where your business will really take off and you'll see massive growth. And I feel like having the ability to get really good at this is something that distinguishes also the good coaches from the great coaches, because your team, as you all know, will kind of have these points where you feel like they're just kind of chugging along and they're kind of feeling stuck or they feel like they're coasting. And the good coaches, especially, as you know, if some of you have come to me and been like, I feel stuck, I don't know what I'm doing, I always will ask, what PD are you reading and what is your why? And if you can't answer those questions clearly, it's like that big light bulb, that big red flag of, okay, this is why you're struggling. So today we're going to talk about vision. And then I would love to have some of you guys, if you feel ready to share, feel what your vision is. Like, share that with us so we can all kind of get behind. Because if you say it out loud or if you write it down, which this is also another plug, if you have not done my Q3 Google form yet, please do it. Because the more time you spend, and when I have that goal area, some of you just did like 1 or 2 sentences. And those of you that did, I'm going to message you back, along with, if I'm not your upline coach, along with your upline coach, that you need to dig a lot deeper. It can't just be that I want to build a team and I want to make some money. Like, this is life. This is not just Beachbody gloss over my goals are X. Like, this is where you see that white picket fence, or you see sending your kids to college and paying cash, or you see that vacation, or whatever it is, but it has to be real, and I want it to be clear, not anything hazy or just, quickly gone through in that goal section of that quarter 3. Okay, so let's get started with vision. I'm going to show you a little video of Summer once we kind of get through some of this, because she said it better than ever. Summer Tucker is a coach who's been around for 6 years. I've been able to meet her a couple times. Her video she posted a couple weeks ago is the inspiration for this, because it was like the kick, I guess, the sucker punch to the gut that I needed to recognize that why my business was not growing at the same rate that it has been. And so that's why we're talking about this. So the name of her video is What is the Missing Piece? And if you want to see the whole thing after, it is an unshared or it's not a public video, it's a private video. So if you do want to see it, just message me or your Upline Diamond coach. She should have the link too. If you want to watch the whole thing, because she really is very passionate, and I'll do my best, but I think it's something we need to talk about it. So really the whole premise of this mentality, of this vision, is we all start with the exact same information, right? We all start with 0 customers, 0 coaches. So why do some people, excel and fly and, and then some others are like, oh, I just can't do this. I can't get to Emerald. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but they get stuck. So why do some do that? Why do some run, and why do some fall? And at the end of the day, it's the word no one likes to hear, but step 1 is consistency. You need to write that down. You need to put it in bold. And this is something I've recognized for myself. So I'm like putting it out there. My consistency this last year over my business has not been what it was in the previous year of my business. When I was a top 50 coach, I can assure you, I had a lot more things I was getting done. Yes, I'm a number 201 coach, which whatever, that's what our team is right now. But the reason that the numbers are changing is because I've let life get in the way. So the consistency. This is what makes you good. You cannot become great. You cannot skip over the good part and be great unless you can look in the mirror and say, I've been consistent every day, not just for a week, not just for a month, but every day for a year, every day for 2 years, however long you've been doing this. I don't care if you go on vacation. I don't care if you have a baby. I don't care if you have ACL surgery or go through a divorce. Obviously, I can say that because these are things I've gone through. I do care if you guys have major life things. I'm not telling you just to gloss over it and pretend like life is perfect. But as you know, if your vision is clear enough, you make time for this business. All right. So if you want to be great, you have to start with good. So this means in all areas of your life, not just this Beachbody business, but that if you want to be a good mom or a good wife or a good friend, there are certain things that you have to do consistently to show up for those roles. And if you're not showing up for those roles, then you aren't good. And you will never be great if you're not consistent with your discipline, or, consistent with, certain activities that you want your kids to thrive at, or the relationship you want to build, with your spouse. Those things have to be really clear and even talked about, definitely written down. So are you consistent? That's question number 1. And then the second question you need to ask yourself is potentially, why are you inconsistent? That's the bigger part of it. If you can't figure out why you're inconsistent, then you can't rise above to say, okay, I am going to be consistent. So think through those excuses, and your vision is worth getting over those excuses. So we're going to talk about vision next. But if you don't have a written down vision, you will crumble. So like I said, if you haven't plugged that into the quarter 3 thing yet, please do it. Or if you don't want to do that and you just need to write your vision down and you want someone else to look at it with you, that's what I'm here for. This is what I love to do. This is what your upline coach loves to do. So your vision should really include 6 different areas. When it comes to Tony Robbins, this is what he focuses on a lot. So one needs to be your family and relationships. What is your vision for your family and relationships? Short term, like this month, this quarter, and then also long term. Spiritually, what is your vision? Emotionally, where do you feel you want to be? Physically, did I already say financially? This is something that you have to get really clear on. And if we do a one-on-one call, if that's something that you say you wanted to do in that quarter 3, we will RPM. your vision, and then physically also where you want to be. So those are the 6. I think, did I repeat any? Emotionally, spiritually, family relationships, physically, financially, spiritually. Okay, so now we're going to watch Summer because the way she says it is much better than how I can say it. Let me screen share. 1 second. Here we are.
Family, spiritually, emotionally, physically.
I bet Erin can remember me telling about her on the phone where I wanted to go, what I was planning to do. When someone tells you with that much conviction, you guys have to understand, people want to ride your train. See, the problem is you don't have anybody on your train because you won't tell them where you're going. Would you get on someone's train that never told you where they wanted to go? Like, what, are we just going for a joyride? Are you just dicking around with my time? What are we doing? Where are we going, Summer? Do you get what I'm saying? Some people are asking you, where the hell are you going? You want me on your train, and you won't tell me where you're going. You guys get what I'm saying? Where are you going? Where do you want to go? You are given one life. One life. What do you want it to look like? I painted that picture over and over and over again for my team. Over and over, you guys. You guys knew I wanted those white picket fences and a long, I haven't made it there yet because I haven't found it, but you guys know what's in my head? That long driveway with the pastors and chickens and flipping golf carts. Do you know what I mean? And go-karts and four-wheelers. I have talked about that over. Outdoor fireplaces, high state games on, chili on the stove, hard apple cider, all that kind of stuff I have told you guys about. You've heard me. You know where I wanted to go. You know I want to be debt-free. You know how I want to groom my kids. I talk about it constantly. My question for you is, do you talk about it constantly in a way that people want on your train, including your spouse? Are you carrying yourself like that kind of boss? Or you have one foot in and one foot out? Because no one wants on that train. Do you want on that train? Do you want on a train where someone is half in and half out? Like, they might bail on you once your train gets going, and you're like, holy shit, how do I drive this train? Because they're not so sure you're still going to drive it. Do you know what I'm saying? So some of you need to get it down on paper. This is what we're missing. You guys aren't convicted enough. This is why you guys aren't taking off. Once you take ownership and you start saying if, and you start saying when, and you start speaking it out there, what you want, you allow what's been placed on your heart to be spoken, and you start saying it with conviction, people will start jumping on your train. They're gonna laugh at you. I got laughed at. So my closest friends from high school still laugh at me, and I don't give a flying you know what. Because this is my life. I get to design it. This is where you're going.
All right. So does that make anyone else kind of like excited, or at least willing to like get over some of the things that's holding them back? Because I think it's so scary sometimes to think, and we kind of talked about this in our group, explaining your vision and sharing your vision with social media, with your team, especially if you have a full-time job, or if you're coming out of a relationship that you don't really feel like, you want people to know about certain things, or, we can talk about all of the things that you might not want to. But at the end of the day, how can you share your vision? Even if you're only making, I don't know, let's say you made $14 today in your team bonus, team cycle bonus. Let's say you started with that $14. Next week or in a month or in 2 months, what is your vision? How are you talking about that on social media? If it's not about financial, how have you changed because of your personal development? How have your relationships changed? That's why I said, if you can think of those 6 different areas that we discussed, and you're breadcrumbing something about that at least once a day, if not every other day. And I know that's scary for new coaches to, feel like they're constantly talking about how their life is changing, or the coaching opportunity, or all these different types of things. If you're not breadcrumbing that, guess what? People aren't going to want to get on your train because they don't see your vision. If you aren't crystal clear on what you want that to be and how you want it to look like, and you want your husband home, or you want your kids to be able to do certain things, or you want to be able to travel or have, Like, if you aren't crystal clear on that and you're not talking about it, guess what? No one's going to care. No one's going to want to show up. No one's going to want to sign up because they don't buy Beachbody products. They buy you. They buy this opportunity and the dream that it can give them. And if you're not talking about that, they are not joining you. Okay, so that has to be driven into your head, driven into your soul. You have to speak out about your vulnerabilities, about your weakness, about your dreams, about your struggles. Because if you're not putting that out there, then people don't think that it applies to them, and they're not allowed to dream themselves. And that's what's so exciting about this. And I know she said this in there, but I want you to write it down. When you write your vision and you write these goals and you talk about it on your social media, don't ever write if. Don't write if. Write when I get to do these things, when our family does this, when I, make that certain 6-figure goal or whatever it is that your specific things are. It has to be like it's already real. It's not just this dream of, oh, maybe someday if. It's when this is going to happen. I will make this happen. Proactive, positive, right now terms when you talk about these goals and convictions. So like she said, people laugh at her. She's one of our top coaches. She's been a top 10 coach. People still laugh at her. And you have to get over that because people will laugh at you. People very close to you will tell you that you're foolish and that you're ridiculous for ever even considering that this could be something. I still get it. And it doesn't really matter anymore. And I posted this last week, but the people who matter don't mind. And the people who don't mind, or people who don't matter, are the ones that seem to mind about it. All right. So the step 3, and she talks about this also, but you have to humble yourself. You have to get in there with your team. It has to be that you are vulnerable, that your ego has gone out of, these are not your goals at the end of the day. These are something that your ego is done. So now how can I be the bigger person, be vulnerable, talk about how I'm going to get there? Do you have the courage and the conviction to get excited about this? Because it does take courage, because you will have haters. And as soon as you show up and you start arriving and you start doing all these amazing things for your vision, the first people you're going to hear from aren't your supporters. They're going to be the ones that want to take you down, that, the other crabs in the bucket. They don't want you to crawl out because then it makes them feel bad about their life. So do you have enough courage to put your conviction out there to be excited about this? Okay. So nobody becomes great without being vulnerable, without getting on, the floor of that stadium, dirty and sweaty and feeling like you're ready to quit. So you have to recognize that to be able to rise, you have to fall sometimes first and keep falling and falling, but keep getting up, because that's what makes the difference of your vision becoming something real versus just becoming something that you talk about. Again, over and over and over again, you have to just believe in that and get crystal clear on that vision, and your vision will change. And that's where I'm at right now. That vision sometimes changes with what you thought you wanted or where you started in this business, and it can change. And that's why, I'm talking to my life coach again tomorrow about my new vision, because I was feeling stuck, and it was because I was still focused on my vision from before, from when I'd written it last year after I'd gone to, UPW. And if your vision, if you write it down and it doesn't feel right, take the half an hour, take the hour, resonate on it, really pray about it, manifest it. What is the ultimate goal that you want for your life and for your family? Because if you think about it and you write it down, then it becomes real. Okay. My gosh, that's what we've got for today. So who has done the quarter 3? I'm going to go through those this weekend for all of you that have done them. I see a couple of hands. Okay, well, if the rest of you, the offer is there. Obviously, this is something I have a life coach. I get to do this with my life coach, so I have a lot of practice and training. And again, this won't just be with me. If you want it to just be with me, that's great. Or if you want it to be with your upline coach and with me, just let me know. But again, if you're not crystal clear and you're not writing it down, it's not going to happen. So that's something I'm going to encourage you again to get that done, and it will help you immensely. All right. Does anyone else want to share their vision or ways that they're scared? They're not sure how to do this. Do you have any questions about the color code? What do you have for me? Okay. Well, there you go. It must have been so amazing. We don't have any questions. Just kidding. Well, if you do have
Wendy.
Oh, okay. Go for it, lady.
I totally agree with you about your vision changing. because when I had that clear vision a year ago, I was balls out every single day.
No, it's true.
And then that vision happened and I reached some goals, and now I'm just, the best thing I needed was that video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a clear vision yet. It did. It kicked me in the butt. I don't have a clear vision yet, but I've been working on it.
Okay.
So I guess I missed your what did you just ask if we completed the quarterly three?
The quarter 3. I put it in the Good Vibes Tribe, and I sent all my PS coaches, but I'll post it again with this, just because it's kind of specific when it comes to just the quarter 3 goals, and then we can again set. And I'm also putting, again, mastermind groups together and one-on-one calls of people that, because in general I'll work with 20% of my leaders, I guess. And then, the people who are in the other who want to run, but I feel like then we can put these mastermind groups together where we can really build off of each other and we can all learn together. So I'll be putting those together for everyone that fills out one of those also. So if you do want more support, this is a way to have some accountability and keep moving on your business.
Okay. And you think breadcrumbing every other day for the business? Every day. Okay.
I think every other day is what some people are comfortable with, but some part of one of your posts every day should be about something that your life, you either want it to be, or that you're moving in that direction, or what Beachbody's been able to provide for you. Some part of it has to be every day. And I think that's how you potentially attract more coaches and team than just customers or clients. Giving that bigger vision, the bigger picture. Not that I'm not telling you not to, try to find just customers or clients, because some people really adhere to that mentality. But I find that if I talk more about that bigger picture and personal development and ways to improve your life, then I attract more of those people who are ready to run in the business in that direction.
And you do that on your like page and your personal page?
I don't really post as much on my personal page. I do.
Okay.
I really only post on my like page. There will be a couple things from time to time where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll post it on my personal page. But in general, as per the trainings I've taken, you should divorce your personal page. And it's scary to do, but if you post on both, then people will never go to your like page.
Okay.
Yeah. Not fun, but yeah.
Hey,
Thanks.
can I jump in?
Of course.
Sarah, you should do the Jesse Reagan training, because that's what I'm doing right now. And that would really help even from the ground up with your personal page or your fit page. But I'm going to share just kind of some nervousness, worry. I don't know what to put on it, because I feel like I kind of had that vision in my head too, to like leave my job. And not that I'm not doing well, because I am, so I really can't complain, but I feel like I just have turned this like really awful wife and mother, and I'm just kind of disappointed because it's summer and it's like I'm not going to be leaving my job next year. And so I feel like I love summer because I have time. I know I could potentially do this full time and do it well, but I'm just feeling nervous because then it's going to be like another year. For those of you who don't know me, it's like 3 kids, 3 sports. My husband works late most nights. And I work full time as a kindergarten teacher. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just feeling nervous. I'm just feeling like, I went through that in the spring with Sarah Boldman, just like, I'm just going to pack it in. I'm done. Like this is not ever going to come to fruition. And so I'm just kind of like, not sure. I mean, of course, I'm not going to do that, but I just feel like I'm such a bad person to my kids and my husband during the school year. So I don't know.
I think that we all kind of go through those phases. And then what my life coach would say is, okay, well, then what can we take off of your plate? Especially with the added income that you have, what can you do to make your life less stressful? Is it getting someone to help drive your kids around? Is it getting a cleaning lady? Is it getting an assistant with your business that you pay $3 an hour because that's the going rate for most assistants? what can you do so that you don't feel like a terrible mother and a terrible wife, but you can still move forward with your business? And I think it's something that you have to kind of think long and hard. What can you take off your plate so that you can make your family a priority and still move forward in your business?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely think that. I'm even trying to talk my husband into, he's self-employed, rearranging his hours a little bit. And I think that's the other thing that, not that he's not supportive, because he is, but I think whenever I start talking about being done with teaching, I don't want to say brings me back to reality, but he just kind of always is like, well, what about retirement? Yes, he has his own retirement, but he just kind of like, I don't know, Debbie Downers it a little bit. Wah, wah, wah. And so I don't know, like, I don't know how to, I know he would be on board because I went through it this year, just kind of like, I just might be done, I'm going nuts. And he was like, that's really truly the case, then that's what you do. But I don't think that's what he wants me to do. I don't know. It's just so hard. Like,
have you watched that, the couples from the leadership? Have you watched that video that the couples talked about? Like the Becky, Christina Delgado talked about it, Melissa McAllister, her and her husband. I'll send you that video. Let me write it down. But
okay.
I think when it comes to spouses, obviously I am not an expert because I never really got my spouse on board. But the people who I have seen do it successfully is you always use we, and then you get to the details. Like you have to keep digging with him. What is it that's holding you back? Okay, you're worried about retirement. What is the number I need to hit then for you to not be so worried? You know, like especially, it seems like I'm not trying to categorize, but with men, you know, like having a very specific, what do you need to not feel nervous about this? And then you decide on it together. And then it's a situation of, okay, so you say, I need to be making $5,000 a week. I mean, maybe that's a crazy number. I don't know, whatever. But let's say that's his number. Now you know. You can say, okay, I know what I need to do to get to $5,000 a week, or if it's $1,000 a week, whatever your number is. And then you both can kind of have not that stress between the two of you, and always be reevaluating. But using we, this is our business, this is our goals, what are our dreams together that Beachbody can give us, that helps, right? And making sure it's open of communication. And because I know that you didn't want to go back, and it's a situation of how it's being, you know, I think also, you know, Erin Young is a really good example. Just following how she did, you can reach out and ask her these questions too. I'm sure she had these same type of experiences. Erin's a top coach who retired as a teacher. So I think it's just, and reaching out to those people saying, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. Did you deal with this? A majority of those coaches who have gone through things that you're going through will be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Okay.
So that's what
yeah.
you do.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you that video too.
That would be good. Yeah. I think, I mean, for most, I don't know if this is the case or not, but for most couples, the husband is still the main breadwinner and carries I don't know, things, you know, certain things. And I'm the breadwinner. Like I'm at a point where I even said to him, I'm like, we could retire you right now. I would be fine with that. You were home. He just won't do that. Like my Beachbody business is making as much as he makes. I mean, not overall with his whole business, but what he pays himself salary wise.
Right.
And I'm just like you're in such a great spot, but it's just hard getting through to him, I guess. So I'm sorry everybody had to listen to that.
No, I think sharing about that makes it seem so normal, because so many of us are dealing with things like this. And you know what, because I said things like that also to, you know, my ex-husband, like, I'm making double what you're making. Why wouldn't you want to retire? And his answer was always, I could never just be home with the kids, and I want to do more. I would go crazy, you know, like, and he's admitted that. But I think it's a situation, like I said, always make it, what do we want? What do you, like, if you didn't have to work tomorrow, what would you do? Would you still go to work? Would we just travel more? You know, like maybe kind of run through, have a glass of wine or whatever, but, you know, just talk about it. Say, let's dream really big. Maybe it'll be silly and we'll laugh, but let's put some of these things down. Why not? You know, and then when you do accomplish them in 2 years, you can look back and laugh when you made these really crazy things on paper that all of a sudden start happening. So I'm a firm believer. There's a really great book. It's called The Circle Maker. If any of you have, you know, do have some form of faith, at least, you know, God-based faith, and it's a really great book on the sense of pray big. Pray as big as you can, because if we make little prayers, then, you know, God has made us to be great and to want these really amazing things for our life. So if we pray really small, he kind of is like, and I say he, you know, you can use whatever word you want, but he kind of is like, I expect more from you. I will grant you bigger prayers the bigger you pray. So, you know, the whole premise though is like, you know, start with this circle, but make that circle as big as you can and pray as big as you can and believe it, that you will be blessed with that abundance. And that's when it starts happening. And it feels weird. Like, do I deserve this? I don't even know if this is normal, but why not err on the side of this could happen versus, oh, I don't know, that seems like it's too much, or, you know, like, why not err on the side of dreaming big and praying big? Can't hurt.
True.
Yeah. So I would recommend that book for any of you kind of feeling like, you know, like Erin's feeling too, like it just, I don't know if it's going to work, but getting your spouse on board is hard, and it is a big part of this business. So if any of you other wives in here want to watch that video that I'm going to send to Erin, just shoot me a message and I'll send it to you too. Okay?
Wendy.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I have a question. Like, what do you tell, like, I'm a student and I'm supposed to start again for my nursing. What would you say as far as, you know, because I'm always second guessing myself as far as, should I continue doing this, you know, being a student and going for my nursing, or should I just leave it and continue, you know, what I'm doing now just with Beachbody, you know? And it's just like you said, when, you know, with your husband, like my husband's like, well, what if it doesn't go good in this, and here you have nothing to fall back on, you know?
Well, hey, I'm never going to tell you to not like follow a path. That has to come from your own gut and your own decisions. And, you know, you have to kind of figure that out for yourself. But I think there are some really successful nurses who have done well with Beachbody and quit their jobs. I'm trying to, why am I totally blanking? She's one fit nurse. She just spoke. If you're not following her, you should be. But I think it's the mentality. Because at the end of the day, this business is not going to just poof, disappear. You know, it's not going to happen. And as you build your team and you build a steady foundation, if you're not just adding 30 people by giving away a bunch of stuff or whatever it is, if you're building a steady team, you're giving great leadership, you're being consistent with your, you know, power hour and your vital behaviors, then your team will continue to grow, because at the end of the day, you duplicate yourself. Your team sees you, they see what you're doing, and then they proceed to do the same thing, you know? So I think that's where you know, and getting your husband involved, like having him see, you know, what you're doing, how your numbers are changing, like what Kim's doing, you know, the things I've been able to do. I think just being able to share that kind of stuff and say, okay, this is what's possible. How, you know, do you want to do that too? Then it gets him on board and it gets him excited. So sit and dream about that. Like, okay, let's say I do continue with school and become a nurse. Would we be able to make 6 figures in Beachbody if I was doing that? We want to make 6 figures in Beachbody. You know, what is our timeline? What do we want for our family, for our marriage? And I think getting that stuff on paper will make it a lot more clear, really what your goals are, what your dreams are. Do you want to be a nurse? I mean, if you want to be a nurse, that's amazing, right? But do you want to do both? Do you want to go all in with Beachbody? That has to be something that your heart tells you and you guys decide on together, obviously.
Thanks.
I didn't give you an answer, but I think just writing it down, right? Praying about it, dreaming, like, what do I want? What do I see for my life in 6 months? What do I see for my life in a year? You know, then it gets really clear. It gets really clear.
Thanks.
Oh, no problem. All right. Thanks for sharing, you guys, because these are things that everyone feels, but we're not always just kind of hesitant to talk about. Anyone else? Okay, is everyone going to do the color code test? Yes, if you haven't yet. What colors, if you guys have done it, what colors are you? You can type it in, or you can just tell me. Either way, I think it's really important to do. It's good as your new onboarding process for your coaches. I highly recommend it. It makes it kind of fun too, just because then you'll see how accurate they are. Sarah was blue, Kelly's red, Juliana's white with a little blue, Kelly did it again. Nina's blue or red. You have to be one. Can't be 50-50, Nina. That's funny. All right. Well, thank you guys for getting on. For those of you I'll see at Summit, I'm super excited. For those of you who are not going to Summit, just know that there was a lot of energy that will be posted. So follow Carl Deichler. We'll talk about this next week. And if you also have any ideas for other team calls that you want to do about, just post them in the group and then we can see what we can do. Otherwise, thank you again. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.